Hey everyone, me Kevin here. So we're doing this stimulus check update live for two reasons. One, Biden might be coming out to touch on stimulus, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But I also want to do some Q&A. I asked in Discord for a little bit of Q&A information or what kind of questions y'all had regarding the next stimulus package, timing, unemployment, PPP, multiple questions. If you've got questions in the chat, feel free to ask as well. So let's get started with the updates on stimulus for today. So Biden was expected to sign the stimulus package on Friday, which the bill was passed on Wednesday, and that led to a lot of criticism like, yo, what are you doing, Joe? Why does it take you so long to sign? Do you got to print it on parchment paper or what's going on? And look, there are many things we could theorize about, but the point is, it's really bad optics to wait, like have this dead day between when the bill passed and when the president signs it. Like usually we think like, okay, bill passed, roll it over to the president's desk and sign it right now. Joe Biden is officially signing the stimulus package today. Technically, he is scheduled to do so at 1:30 p.m. today, which is right now. However, anytime Joe Biden has been scheduled for any kind of event, they tend to start about 30 to 45 minutes late. But the big event today won't have to do with Joe Biden actually signing the bill today, which is a good thing. The big event today from Joe Biden will actually occur at about 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, when Joe Biden has one of his first primetime evening shows here, sort of speeches to the nation as president, to mark the one-year anniversary of this pandemic, which it's honestly crazy to think that we're in this for a year now. Wow, what a crazy year it has been. But anyway, any questions you have, feel free to ask, but we're going to go through a little bit of Q&A now, but I want to start with timing. So what does this mean for timing? Having this extra day is actually a really big deal. It gives the IRS and the Treasury Department an actual full solid business day to start getting these checks rolling. The expectation is direct deposits are going to get scheduled for next week, hopefully as early as Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Certainly, the hope is that these checks start hitting direct deposit accounts by Friday of next week. So if we look at the calendar, 1 week from today is the 18th. And so by the 19th, my expectation is many people who have a stimulus check set up via direct deposit should be seeing a lot of those deposits hit by the 18th and 19th. That's the goal. For paper checks, we do expect paper checks to go out the week of the 22nd through the 26th. The mail is not exactly the fastest these days, and usually they can roll off somewhere around 10 million a week. So with paper checks, it's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks of printing the main batches, could even be 4 to 5 weeks. So paper checks, honestly, could come up anywhere. My guess, I would not expect to see a paper check any earlier than March 30th, probably, maybe March 27th if we're lucky. We'll see if they've sped this up at all. Probably looking at more like getting a paper check the first 2 weeks of April, whereas the direct deposit should mostly hit through the end of this month. So also still on standby just to see if Biden does come out to sign, then obviously we'll look at it. But for now, let's hit some other Q&A because there are a lot of questions that are coming up. So do seniors over 65 get a stimulus check? The answer here is yes, as long as you fall within the income criteria. There's no limit that says seniors do not get the stimulus checks. I think the question is coming from an angle of, hey, I don't file my taxes. Do I still get it? So if you don't file your taxes, you'll be able to get your stimulus check either through SSA, Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, or your veteran benefits, railroad retirement benefits. You'll get your payment through this. If you don't receive any of these benefits and you're eligible for a stimulus check, this question comes up often. You're eligible for a stimulus check, you don't file your taxes, and you're not getting these benefits. What do? You pretty much have to kind of file your taxes. Now, that sounds overwhelming, but basically you do what's known as requesting the recovery rebate, and you do that by filing the IRS Form 1040. But type into Google IRS recovery rebate. That's the same thing as the stimulus check. It's just you requesting the check money. Type that into Google. Make sure you go to the irs.gov website when the Google results come up, and you'll be able to get or request your stimulus check in that scenario. What about newborns born in 2021? So 2 things here. Newborns born in 2021 probably won't get a stimulus check directly this year. Instead, you'll be able to claim that stimulus check next year on your tax return. What about the child tax credits, though? When the IRS portal or Treasury portal or whoever ends up handling this releases their portal for child tax credits before July, you should be able to enter your new child's birthday, social, and then start redeeming those monthly payments. What about for qualifying for forbearance? A big question that comes up a lot about forbearance is, how do I qualify for this? The CARES Act said that to qualify for forbearance, you have to have I don't know the exact verbiage, but it was something to the effect of you have to have a reasonable hardship or expectation that you're going to have a hardship, some sort of uncertainty, and then you can apply for mortgage forbearance. There's nothing that actually says you have to provide any kind of documentation. In fact, the stimulus bills specifically say you do not have to provide documentation to say that you are having a hardship, but you have to attest, which just means state, or say, I have a hardship, I want mortgage forbearance. And then you're allowed now up to 15 months of mortgage forbearance with Fannie Freddie loans. Type into YouTube, Meet Kevin Mortgage Forbearance. I've got quite a few videos breaking down the actual text, showing you the verbiage directly. But I highly recommend, look, if you're not thinking about refinancing or getting a new home anytime soon, take mortgage forbearance. 15 months of basically payments you don't have to make is 15 months of money you could put into stocks or investments. And in many cases, especially Fannie Freddie, you can, and FHA, you could take the loan and add it to the back of what you owe, and then just pay that money back when you sell, refinance, or in the future. It could be 20 years down the road. Personally, I'm not opposed to mortgage forbearance at all. I have not personally taken mortgage forbearance, but I'm not opposed to it at all. Yes, Joe Biden will be signing today. He might be signing any minute. We're not sure if we're going to actually see any kind of coverage on this because he does have his primetime event tonight. So we shall see. Okay, what else do we have here? Then we've got a question here about, what about the debit cards? All right, so why would you get a debit card? So it depends where your tax refunds and your stimulus check might get processed through. There are a few processing facilities that are purposely sending about 4 million debit cards for stimulus checks. Initially, when we first heard of the debit card program, we thought it was, honestly, we kind of thought it was brilliant because it was just kind of like, oh, cool, here's your debit card. Let's just refill it. And in theory, that would be really fast because think about it. They could just tomorrow go refill money on those debit card accounts, right? ACH it over, comes in within a day, which is similar to really the direct deposit. So probably be a next week thing anyway, if they were to do that. But they're not. Instead, they're saying, yeah, we issued those, debit cards the first time, $1,200. We issued some debit cards on the $600. Now, we're just going to keep issuing new debit cards for some people. So they're not actually refilling the old debit cards. They just issue new ones. And the problem is the mail comes in like spam. Like it looks like crap, the letter they send it in. So you have to be really careful. Pay attention to your mail over the next few weeks. The stuff, the stimulus check, certainly the stimulus debit card looks like spam. It looks like junk mail. So be careful. Keep an eye on that. Will you have to repay the stimulus check if you made more money in 2020 and you haven't filed your taxes yet, and then they send you a stimulus check, but then you're all of a sudden not eligible? Let's be extreme here. Let's say you made $50,000 in 2019. You don't file your 2020 taxes yet. You get a stimulus check for your family, your entire family. You could get a stimulus check. Let's say there are 5 of you in the family, right? 5 times $1,400. That's $7,000 of a stimulus check you could be getting. So 2019, you made 50 grand. You didn't file your 2020 taxes yet because you're on extension, or you're just waiting the other month because you still have time. Now you get a $7,000 stimulus check. Then you go file your taxes for 2020. And let's just go extreme. Let's say you made $250,000 as a family. Technically, it's like, I probably shouldn't have gotten the stimulus check, right? Is the thought process here. Specifically in the law, the stimulus bill says you do not have to repay that money. You get to keep the $7 grand. This is why a lot of people who have more income in 2020 are like, well, fine, I'll just wait a few weeks before filing my taxes because it's going to give me a few extra grand, depending on how many people are in your family, obviously. All right. Furthermore, we have questions about, here's a PPP question, and I'm looking at questions in the chat here as well. Could you cover the PPP changes for those who don't show enough self-employment income to qualify? Yes. So here's how this works. Basically, they're going to let you use your gross income to qualify. And as long as you don't make more than $150,000, they're going to take your word for it that you need the PPP loan. If you are using gross and you make more than 150K, they're going to scrutinize your application a little bit more. I made a full video on this. Type into YouTube, Meet Kevin PPP changes, and you will see the actual text of the law that talks about these PPP changes. All right, questions here. Have they confirmed yet if maybe with the new child tax credit that starts July 1st, can you opt in for maybe a month or two, collect the money, and the rest of the year my taxes? It has not been confirmed yet how frequently you can make changes in the child tax credit portal. We do expect that there will be a portal that will allow you to opt in, or you might automatically be defaulted in, so that will allow you to opt out. So imagine if you've gotten the payments for a few months and you're like, I want to opt out now. I just want this money to come to me as a tax refund or part of my tax refund. I imagine you'll be able to do that. Obviously, we don't know yet. So just wanted to say, hey, Kevin, okay, sorry, it jumped. I don't know, the chat does that to me. All of a sudden it just jumps. Oh, here we go. Thank you for that. Let's see. Other questions that we have. If they can't refill the credit card, then what the F is the purpose? Thank you. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. It honestly seems stupid. Yes. People who don't belong getting it are taking the PPP and EIDL and unemployment while... Okay, so here's the thing. The PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program, so that's, I guess, redundant. The PPP, there is so much money in this program that there are a lot of people applying for PPP round one because they realize the government is literally trying to hand this money out. And the purpose of the PPP is not, like, PPP round one does not say you need to have lost money. The PPP round one is part stimulative and part trying to help people avoid uncertainty, right? Like, you have to attest for PPP round one that you need the money. So there is an attestation that you have to go through, and certainly you don't want to lie. But people go through a lot of different uncertainty, and there are a lot of ways to define, what if there's market uncertainty? What if, we have a double dip? What if there's a second COVID strain, right? And so the real, I think, goal of the PPP round one has been to try to be as stimulative as possible. The PPP was literally, in my opinion, and I think there was a lot of fraud, but I think the PPP was really a way for the government to just say, we're going to print as much money as possible and try to get people stimulated with more cash. And, businesses, what have we always said on this channel? Who gets bailed out first? Businesses get bailed out first. Homeowners get bailed out first. Stock owners get bailed out first. So people who don't have businesses, stocks, or real estate, they get left behind regularly. Frustrating. There are no garnishments for child support. I see a lot of questions about that. Let's see. Amber, I just now see your comment here, but I don't know what your question is. I'm going to keep scrolling around here. Let's see. So, yeah, there is a lot of frustration about the stimulus package that maybe future generations will have to pay this back. The government is taking the approach that we're going to heat up the economy, and we're going to make it such that the economy is actually stronger going forward. And we have a stronger economic engine to where we are able to pay off the debt from these stimulus packages quicker. There is a lot of hate, though, yes, for spending this money. And certainly there are a lot of arguments around that. Let's see. Right. That's one of the theories regarding the PPP as well. Exactly, that it's stimulus and the goal is to get the money into the economy. This is true. Will the child tax credit be available for those who receive disability like SSI, SSDI? Yes. My understanding was the answer to that is yes. Can you go over the unemployment $10,200 tax-free if you've already filled out your 2020 tax returns? So this is coming up regularly. We have to wait. And I feel like it sounds like a cop-out of an answer because it's like we just don't know. There are three things the IRS can do. The IRS can make you file an amended return, or I hope they don't make you do an amended return. I think that'd be a nightmare for the IRS. I don't think they're going to do that. They could make you file a form to claim a rebate, and that might just be a one-page form. Smart way to do it. Or they might just automatically redo the calculation and send you a bigger tax refund. So I would wait for guidance on them. Okay, Amber, I found it. Ant has not. Okay, I think you've got a two-part question. I think that might be part of the problem. Let me see. Not giving me anything to help. He has claimed them on his 2020 tax return, even though I claimed them on 2020 tax return as well. Mine got denied because he claimed them first. Right. Okay, so I think I got the gist of your question. When you have a situation where multiple people are claiming the same dependents, and generally the person who gets their tax return filed first gets the benefit. That does mean that whoever filed first gets the stimulus check for those dependents or children. The IRS is not going to litigate, who's paying more money for the child, who's supporting the child, where the child lives. The IRS, it doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is who filed a social security number on the tax return first, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's unfortunately the way they play it. All right, let's see here. Okay, so is it too late to change my direct deposit with my brokerage account so my wife won't know I'm spending it on stocks? Oh, man. I think that's between y'all. Biden mentioned forbearance is not forgiveness, and these people need it forgiven right after the election. Haven't heard from him again. I don't know. I do not expect us to see mortgage forbearance forgiveness. I don't expect that to happen. I don't think Biden will do that. I don't think he has the power to do that anyway. I think Congress would have to do that. It is correct that forbearance is not forgiveness. Forbearance is you being able to delay making a payment for like 20 years that you would otherwise have to make now, which if you invest that money, you could basically, probably within 5 or 10 years, depending on how you invest, kind of double the money that you invested. And basically it's kind of like it's free money if you're investing. Yeah, there are no garnishments on child support. How do you qualify for the monthly child tax credit? No, there's nothing that says you have to be employed. Probably what's going to happen is they're going to look at your 2020 tax return and they're going to see that you have children because the birth dates and social are in there. And then you'll just automatically start getting the check. And then if you need to update your information, they'll provide you information for going to the portal that they're going to create. They haven't done it yet. And then you'll be able to make any kind of modifications like new children and that. But yeah, that's in terms of how do you qualify, it's going to be through your 2020 tax return at first. And then obviously if there is new information, then you would update that in the portal when the portal comes out. All right, let's see here. Can we get PPP if we're on unemployment? Very common and good question. The answer is yes. You can apply for the PPP while you are on unemployment. However, when it comes to the payback period, which you can choose, this was another question. Is it 24 weeks or is it 8 weeks? I'm pretty sure you have a choice because originally it was you have 8 weeks to spend the money. But there are circumstances where you could choose 24 weeks to spend the money. The point is, for whatever period you are taking PPP money, you must be employed again, which means you have to stop unemployment. So for example, let's say you took the PPP for 8 weeks from April through May. So April, May, you take it. You're on unemployment now. April 1, you get off unemployment. Start paying yourself with your PPP loan. Then June comes around, and if you're still not able to be employed again, you go back on unemployment. So you have to work the timing. You can't double them up. If my employment is side hustle gig stuff, Etsy, Twitch, would I qualify for the PPP? I don't see why not. As long as you had a business prior to February 15th of 2020, and you could prove that you had incomes from this business on your Schedule C of your tax return, absolutely. Use your gross income or your net income, whichever you want to use. And apply for the PPP. It's basically free money. I highly encourage you to apply for the PPP. And originally when the PPP came out, I didn't believe the whole forgiveness thing. I was very, very skeptical. But I U-turned on that pretty quickly. In about 2 weeks, I started realizing like, no, wait a minute. I see what they're doing here. This is really, the PPP is supposed to be a grant program. They just dressed it up as a loan that's forgivable, which was very confusing for many people. Okay. Somebody here, Tony here says, child matters. If one parent has custody, the custodial parent just has to file paperwork. Maybe. If you could do that, that's awesome, Tony. Hey, if you could share some more insight on that, that's great. Usually, I've seen the IRS, they're going with first, and I know a lot of people are struggling with that. I'm sure there are ways to dispute that after the fact, especially when it comes to who has custodial rights. But sometimes you have these complications too, where one parent has custody, but technically the kid is with the other parent. So like maybe dad has legal custody, but the child's living with mom. It's a mess. How do you counter a mortgage company not following the law? I think you might be referring to mortgage forbearance, and it's very, very difficult. You just have to keep fighting and keep trying and get on the phone and sit through it and ask them to explain to you why you're wrong about what your belief is, if you're even wrong. And then hopefully through that discussion, a solution can be found. I'm pissed because my daughter's dad gets the stimulus for our daughter when it's to be limited income and I'm on disability. Yeah. That is frustrating, and I'm sorry for your situation. I think there are going to be a lot of these situations. And look, my parents divorced when I was 6. It's terrible. It's a court case. That's okay. So that was my concern, is that it becomes a family law issue, right? The IRS isn't going to, like I said, the IRS isn't going to litigate the dispute, but a family law court might. All right, we're going to get off the child support or dependent claiming issue. All right, so what else do we have here? They did a loan as opposed to a grant, so it's not as easily seen as a giveaway. I mean, look, it's still really a giveaway. I think the reason they did a loan instead of a grant is so that they can impose restrictions, right? Use it for payroll, use it for this expense, but not that expense. It gives them that oversight. It's kind of like them holding the hammer over your head, like, you better follow our rules. SBA sent a decline letter, but said I'd get grant. I did on the first round. Will I this time? Well, this time the grants are really only going to people who have targeted or who are part of the targeted EIDL grant program. And that means you've had an economic loss of greater than 30% for a period of time, comparing this year to last year. And not necessarily year. There's some specific dates for this. And you could type this into YouTube. Meet Kevin EIDL grant. You'll get the exacts on that. And you have to be in an area with greater than 20% poverty, which is substantially above the national average for poverty rates in a community. So they've narrowed that down a lot. Do you think they will somehow change the fact that those stimulus checks can be garnished? No. I think right now they are trying to prevent garnishments. Yeah. If I missed your question, I'm sorry about that. I don't see your prior question. Could I file for mortgage forbearance if I haven't had any hardship? I mean, technically, you could do whatever you want, but the law says you have to attest to a hardship. And if you're not willing to attest to a hardship, then no. Are we ever going to get the 10K for the EIDL? No, just the targeted. The people who are part of the targeted EIDL program, they will get the full 10K. If you got the 1K and you're not part of the targeted program, no, I don't think the SBA is going to do that. I think the SBA really ripped people off on that one, which is unfortunate. Have you heard about the 1099 reporting being lowered from 20 to 600? I have not heard of this one, Dylan. Maybe tell me more if you don't mind, or post in Discord, metkevin.com/Discord. Hey, Kevin, I was trying to start my first small business on my own without a loan. Can I apply for a PPP loan to help start my business? No. The PPP is only for people who have been in business prior to February 15th of 2020. Do you think they will somehow change the fact that these stimulus checks? No, okay, we answered that one. No. All right, other questions here. They are requiring proof of hardship and no option to repay at the end of the loan. Yeah. So you have to be careful because your loan has to be a covered loan, which means the government backs it, like a federally backed loan. And a federally backed loan is not everything. So you have to ask, hey, what kind of loan do I have? Do I have a Fannie Mae loan? Do I have a Freddie Mac loan? Do I have an FHA loan? And then you can go to consumerfinance.gov. Consumerfinance.gov and look at their mortgage forbearance web pages specifically regarding the type of loan you have. It depends on the type of loan you have. If you don't have one of the easy ones, yeah, they could make it very hard for you. And they could require proof of hardship. They could require a lot of things. Well, I got money if I got married last week. Well, marriage, the determination as to whether or not you were married comes at December 30 or on December 31st of any given tax year. So when you file your taxes next year, you'll probably be able to get more of a stimulus check if you're thinking about as a couple. But I don't know your situation. I don't know if you're in the income thresholds now or you're not now. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Miss Darby. I have no idea why the join button doesn't exist on the iPad or the iPhone. It's very frustrating. I agree with you. If I was eligible last year, but I didn't make too much money in 2020 and I did my taxes already, will I get my check? Did I screw it up? If I was eligible last year, but I made too much money in 2020 and you did your taxes already. It depends when your tax return gets accepted. If the IRS, looks for qualifying individuals on Monday for stimulus checks and they look at your 2020 tax return and you already filed your 2020 taxes and you made too much money, then no, you wouldn't get it. Is it true that there's a tax waiver for the first 10,000 to? Oh yeah, I was going to talk about this. So on unemployment, a lot of questions about this. Yes, If you received unemployment in 2020, the up to the first $10,200 of unemployment pay will be tax-free, and it's up to that number, and it only applies for 2020. This is not about 2021. Unemployment is still taxable in 2021. If you made more than that amount of money, it's still taxable. But we have no idea how to get that money back just yet. We are waiting for the IRS to provide guidance on that, hopefully within the next couple weeks. Taylor, that sucks. Honestly, in your situation, I would reapply. I would try again. Do our 2020, 2019 taxes have to be fully processed? Yeah. So that's the thing. It depends. Like, there is a point where the IRS is still looking at your 2019 tax return. Hold on one sec. Hold on. I forgot to pin I always pin a comment. And I forgot to pin a comment here. I want to keep answering questions, but you could get 38% off using code HODL on the amazing courses linked down below on building your wealth. All come with private live streams. I do a lot of Q&A, kind of like this actually, in the private live streams. Every day the market is open, so it's really fun. Yeah, so it depends on when the IRS actually processes it in terms of, and when they look to determine who the eligible recipients are. If you've already filed, like if you filed a few weeks ago, your 2020, and you made too much money, probably you're not going to see it. They are prioritizing 2020. I applied for the PPP through PayPal as an Uber driver in January. Radio silence for a month. Should I find another bank? I mean, I don't think it hurts to apply at another. I do think they're slightly overwhelmed. It's possible. I am not affiliated with this company, and I've given them a lot of business, I feel like. But you could go to metkevin.com/veeam. It actually will redirect you now to Cross River. And they've been pretty easy to apply through, and I don't think as many people know about it. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Martin. Stimmy is automatic for even most prisoners. This is true. Can you apply for PPP 1-2? Yes. Yes, you can. They've actually extended the deadline for this. Yes, you can. Will I be able to get paid the 6 weeks I had to stay home from the COVID virus? It depends. There are, and this was another question that came up. So the Family First Coronavirus Response Act, which was actually passed before the first stimulus package, before the CARES Act, provided for a tax credit, an optional tax credit that your employers, I actually think there was a period of time they were obligated to provide this, but there was a tax credit that employers could get for paying you up to 80 hours of paid sick leave at your normal rate of pay if you were unable to work because you were quarantined. And if you had to take off work because you were helping somebody else care for COVID, you could get paid up to 2/3 of your normal pay for up to 2 weeks, up to 80 hours of pay. There was even a provision about an extra additional 10 weeks of paid expanded family and medical leave. That was, I think, also at 2/3 of the employee's pay. And these are credits that go to the employer. So you really have to work with your employer on that. And if you work for the federal government, there were some additional paid leave options that were passed as well. But yeah, on the PPP, good question. It is not too late to apply for the PPP. How do we apply and get the stimulus for an inmate? Well, I believe they get that. How exactly they get that? I have not been asked that question. It's not what I've researched. I'm not sure if that goes into like the commons, the distribution funds that they have within the system. I'm not sure about that. I would imagine that is a possibility that it goes directly into, into their funds there. But I don't think because there is no way for you to apply for a stimulus check for somebody else unless they're dependent of yours. As far as tracking somebody's stimulus, that's a tough one. I mean, you could, if you have power of attorney, you could use the Get My Payment portal, but you better make sure that power of attorney is accurate when you go access that, because they're really fussy about unauthorized people accessing that. So type into YouTube IRS Get My Payment. Root Broadcast says it's another super chat. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm looking for it, but I don't see it. Yeah, I'm looking around for it, but I don't see it. Sorry. Maybe just ask it normally if you can. I have a regular. Okay, so we answered this. I was told I was getting the first grant, and then they stopped the program. And that's unfortunate. I think you're referring to the EIDL program. Yes, they did. They ran out of money, and it's very frustrating. All right, let's see here. Dropped a link in the Discord general public. Could result in someone selling an item they bought for $1,000, sold for $600 and paying taxes on it. That's bizarre. Okay, I mean, that's something I'll have to read and look into. but I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. So I'm going to pull that up. A stimulus bill requires payment processors like PayPal. Wait, this might be actually a little... To report earnings of $600 plus on 1099K. A major underreported facet of the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill is that it strengthens requirements of payment processors to report income received through the platform. Yes. Okay, yeah. So in such a case, like in your example here, where if you had a $1,000 item that you sold for $600, this just turns into an accounting issue, right? Because it's this does get a little complicated, because you could almost then, if you sold it for $600, I wonder if you could put it on your Schedule C, call it a $1,000 expense, and $600 of income to offset that. So I would have to, I'll have to look into this a little bit more. Yeah, but that is interesting. No garnishments for child. And honestly, that was way overdue. The payment processors not reporting income was way overdue. That's correct. No garnishments for child support. Will the president? He was supposed to sign the bill like 30 minutes ago. Actually, it looks like we have a live feed coming in from the Oval Office right now. So it's possible that he's going to be signing this while. Sorry. No, where is it? Oh, here we go. It's possible that he'll be signing this momentarily, but here's the Oval Office. So he might be signing this momentarily, and maybe even on a live stream. Okay, let's do some more questions here. Okay. Do you have to make over a certain amount to apply for the PPP? I mean, you have to show income. Like if you're at zero, I think it's a little harder to apply for the PPP. The bill is getting signed today. And as far as, hold on a sec. Here we go. As far as the, what's it called? The 1099 thing. Yeah, I mean, I'll look into the 1099 thing some more. I'm a little bit skeptical. Okay, Biden's actually walking in right now. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. No, wrong one. Okay, here we go.
Thank you for coming in. In the weeks that this bill has been discussed and debated, it's clear that an overwhelming percentage of the American people, Democrats, independents, or Republican friends, have made it clear, the people out there, made it clear they strongly support the American Rescue Plan. Yesterday, with the final passage of the plan in the House of Representatives, their voices were heard and reflected in everything we have in this bill. And I believe this is, and most people I think do as well, this historic legislation is about rebuilding the backbone of this country and giving people in this nation, working people, middle-class folks, people who built the country, a fighting chance. That's what the essence of it is. And I'm going to have a lot more to say about that tonight and the next couple of days and be able to take your questions. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is sign this bill and make the presentation tonight. And then there's going to be plenty of opportunities. We're going to be on the road, not only talking about what I'm talking about tonight is the impact on the virus and how we're going to end this pandemic. And we're going to talk all the elements of the bill beginning on Friday, Saturday, and through the week. So thank you for being here.
There it goes. Boom. Signed.
Got it. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you.
I want to be one of those thank you people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, maybe I don't. Never mind. I don't want to do that. Okay. So how many legally born children get stimulus checks if they have legal parents, legal immigrant parents? That's a very good question. There is no limit on the dependents who can get it, and there's nothing that I saw in the verbiage that said, there is a limit in this circumstance either. So I think if you have parents who are filing without social security numbers, and let's say they have 5 children, and all of the children have a social security number, I would say the children should be eligible for that 5 times $1,400 stimulus check, which is $7,000. So I would absolutely make sure you file. The stimulus check is passed, it's signed, it's done. That was the last step. It's official. Stimulus is signed. We just saw that live. Okay. Do I have to file taxes before I get the stimulus? I haven't filed yet this year. You could get it as of your last tax return, right? So your 2019 will be used. So if you take out the razor, the stimulus beard's got to go. If you read you are married, the tax forgiveness. Yeah, I would imagine the tax forgiveness would be higher if you're married. I have not seen exactly what the amount would be on that though. So I can neither confirm nor deny that. My wife wants me to spend my stimulus check on can I write off my Okay, so there are certain medical expenses that you could write off on your taxes if you do it through an HSA. And if you haven't yet, I highly encourage all of y'all, especially since they've expanded the HSA program through this CARES Act. I would go to metkevin.com/HSA, create a health savings account. This works if you have a high deductible health plan. And you can now spend money from that tax-free, which is pretty awesome. So I like that. The HSAs are really, really, really good. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. What about health insurance? Okay, well, I'm not sure what you're asking. It's officially signed now. Stimulus is done. Passed. Biden has signed. Is a 1099 from a stock sale enough to apply for the PPP? I don't believe they're letting you do that. Let's see. Do we know how to change the account info for the round? I don't believe they're letting us change account information due to the amount of fraud that exists in the system, unfortunately. I have an HSA. Yeah. Hold on. I got to text Lauren too. Okay. Bills. Okay. Hold on a sec. All right. What else do we have here? Okay. We'll do some more questions. So other questions. Kevin, my brother is under disability. Is he entitled to the stimulus check? He hasn't received any. Well, if he hasn't received any, I mean, there's no reason for you not to be entitled to the stimulus check. You would have to file for a recovery rebate. So Google that, IRS recovery rebate. You're going to shave. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm excited the stimulus bill is signed. Yeah, it's signed and done. My parents do not qualify for the stimulus. Do you suggest me and my sister file independently and not have my parents claim us? Well, in that case, look, if you file independently, your parents lose some benefits. So you got to have that conversation about that. But yeah, if you file independently, then you'll get it, right? If you qualify within the income. So let's see here. Oh, man. Okay. Stimulus is on the way. Yeah, it's signed. It's great. So, okay, let's see here. Yeah, and you have to check what things are HSA eligible. Yes, I know. If you get the stimulus before the last two, will you get it this time if you're on SSI, SSDI? Yeah, or SSI, SSA. It should be the same process as last time, exactly. Same exact process as last time. I have an S Corp and get a Schedule K instead of a W-2. They say I'm not eligible for the PPP. Any way to get around this? Yeah, the problem is if you have an S Corp, you have to be able to show payroll. And if you're not paying payroll, technically you're supposed to be paying yourself payroll. And so it's possible. It is possible that you're getting eliminated there. Unemployment has been extended through September 6th. I don't think we're going to have any kind of delay in when the in the unemployment payments. I think we're going to continue to get those. Let's see here. Okay, one sec. Okay, so let's see here. Will a PPP loan get in the way of my FHA closing in May? It should not. It should not. But talk to your mortgage lender about that. Don't be embarrassed to talk to your mortgage lender about these things. Call them up, and you know, they're on your side. If you filed your taxes last year, do you have to file this year to receive a third stimulus? Not necessarily. You should be able to get it directly through your 2019 tax return. So you do not yet have to, like, if they don't have your 2020, but you file in 2019, they'll just use your 2019. And if you qualified in 2019, you'll get this check. You know, if you qualify according to the new guidelines, because the guidelines have tightened a little bit, right? Gross receipts, yes, correct. You can use gross receipts now to bypass showing a loss in 2019. This is true. Exactly. This is another good thing. See, with an S Corp, one of the reasons you might get denied if you're not paying yourself payroll is because you're supposed to pay yourself payroll as an S Corp. You know, reasonable compensation rules. Exactly. This tattooed chef question. I have a 29-minute video explaining that in the course on the stocks and psychology of money, though I will be making a short video later on it. So IRS reduced my refund by $1,800 because I received stimulus. I thought I was not supposed to be penalized. I don't know what happened in your situation there. That is interesting. But adult dependents are eligible in this bill. Adult dependents would get the $1,400. Okay. I e-filed through H&R Block and got accepted on Jan 28th, but haven't received it yet. Do you think they're waiting to attach the new stim check? You haven't received your refund yet? I mean, I feel like the refunds are way behind. Way behind. Yeah, I think I didn't want to say it. I mean, Juice, you were a little blunt here. There could have been a mistake in your taxes in that situation. I agree with Juice on there probably is a reason for that. Junior, I see. I'm sorry if I'm not hitting all the questions. I'm trying to, but I see this one, which is unfortunate. Yes, Biden did just sign the unemployment tax for last year. Does that remove the $10,200 that you could owe, or $10,200 worth of unemployment that was taxed? Yeah, so it's not a credit. A credit removes $10,200 that you owe in taxes. This removes $10,200 of income, which is very, very different. So it just means $10,200 is not taxable. So if you're at a 20% tax bracket, that's like, you know, $2,400-ish. Was it 10? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay. I might be slightly off on that. Hold on. $10,200 times 0.2. I don't know why I can't. Oh, there it is. I knew it was soft side. $2,040. I'm sorry. Ooh, okay. A quick question. I'll be doing a stock live stream soon. Will the creditors garnish the stimulus check? No garnishments this time. Okay. I did not work in 2019, but I did in 2020, and my taxes are still processing. It was accepted. Will I still get a stimulus because this is processing? It depends. I don't know the technical status that they're looking for. If you didn't work in 2019, have you gotten your other stimulus checks? I would imagine if you filed your taxes and it was accepted, that you should probably be within the group of people who get a stimulus check. I would be optimistic on that. You know, worst case, you end up getting stuck until waiting until next year, which is, you know, unfortunate. Okay, we will be back with a course member live. Sorry, not a course member. Course member live stream is already done. We will be back in about an hour and maybe 10 minutes to do a market closing live stream. So if you have more questions, feel free to come then. But otherwise, Biden has signed. Congratulations. Thank you so very much for watching the video. And folks, we'll see you soon.